Who are you? Beer Drink Shouty here, and this is nothing. Damn it! I hit the mic a couple times. It's
Again.
All good. We just got done watching the greatest Royal Rumble of all time.
Not.
A good Royal Rumble, truthfully. I actually enjoyed the actual Royal Rumble activities, but we're going to go ahead and get into some of the intricacies of this pay-per-view. What do you have to say about the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? Was it the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? Where would you rate it?
It was the greatest letdown of all time.
Why? Camera angle?
First of all, the cameras were horrible.
The cameras weren't.
You don't zoom in when somebody's doing a move. You should know where to position yourself and which camera you need to use.
So it was somewhat a production clusterfuck, to be totally honest. It was a production clusterfuck, and the matches didn't make sense. The matches didn't make sense at all. You had Rusev versus The Undertaker in a casket match. Oh, word. Oh, we've been building up to that. Meanwhile, The Undertaker hasn't been responding to John Singleton. We talking about a fucking black exploitation movie now. But The Undertaker hasn't said any, like, pretty much hasn't fucking said anything towards John Cena for a long time.
And Rusev shouldn't even been in the radar for The Undertaker. Like that, it
didn't make sense.
Absolutely made no sense.
What else didn't make sense about this greatest Royal Rumble of all time? Possibly, what do you think? Maybe Jinder taking on Matt Hardy. And that's the thing that I don't get. Why is Matt Hardy a U.S. champ? Jeff Hardy, my bad. Damn,
see, now you just did the same thing I keep doing.
Jeff Hardy taking on Jinder Mahal. Why is Jeff Hardy the U.S. champ, for one? For two, why isn't Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy the Hardy Boys? How they were brought in doesn't make sense. Let's go back. Let's go back. Why do we have John Cena taking on Triple H in a legacy match?
We'll even go back to this. Like I was just trying to tell you, like, even our daughter said, "Oh, I clearly heard Triple H tell John Cena, hey, do you want to be done with this or should I kick out?"
During a match, guys, why do you have the Zoom? Like, you have a Zoom and Zoom mic. Like,
to where you shouldn't. We shouldn't hear
it was
that.
A botch. The entire event was a botch, and it was weird. And I just don't like it. It is what it is. Like, okay, the greatest Royal Rumble of all time, or whatever the fuck they tried to build it up as. Definitely a good venue. Definitely a good surrounding and like, they did it well, but not a good pay-per-view. And truthfully, to be totally honest, as far as wrestling fans aren't into the, for one, match selection, and for two, nothing was right about this event.
Absolutely
and I don't get
nothing.
it. Nothing was right about this event, and I just don't understand why they could put this out as the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. The Royal Rumble actually made it somewhat. I'll put it this way.
I just want to know. I'm gonna take you back just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The John Cena and Triple H match. It was a good match, even though they did
good
zoom
match,
in.
good stiff match.
They did, and they did zoom in too much to where you could clearly see.
Yep.
Everything that the wrestlers do and talk about during ring.
And I'm glad that you said that. Like pinfalls, they're zoomed in way too much for pinfalls, because you actually need to see the audience. You know what I'm saying?
But that's another thing that I even brought up to you while we were watching it. I was like, okay, the people in the background, like, they're a distraction, because you have people walking around not even interested in what they're there to see.
And it was just
it was distracting, and
it was a clusterfuck.
I understand, you know, that
politics. You understand
I
politics, and the
understand.
way it is like,
and they live a completely different lifestyle than we do here.
and that's cool. And I have no problem with that. But my thing though, it was just a weird thing.
It was just awkward.
Yeah, it was
like
a weird,
the whole thing was
yeah.
awkward.
It was a weird thing to where it was like, okay, you know what? We have a good deal with the WWE in Saudi Arabia, so we're gonna go ahead and spend a lot of money on this, and it may have even been a situation to where they had
Oh my gosh!
people,
Freaking pig.
Eat it. May have been people from Saudi that actually voted on who they wanted to see there, because none of the matches made sense. The ladder match had absolutely no interaction with the ladder. Like, if you remember back when
They had
Shawn
plenty
Michaels
of interaction
took on,
with the ladder while they were walking out. That was it.
and looking at it, like the biggest
Petting it.
interaction that
Petting
they
it
had
and
and looking at it,
looking at
yeah,
them.
like, oh,
Yeah.
these are 4 ladders, or these are 8 ladders, like, and that's ridiculous. My thing is, the best ladder match of all time, definitely Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. And my thing is, there was no interaction with the ladder. There was no interaction with like using brutality.
The only
using
interaction
the
was
ladder.
when Finn Balor got cut on his face from Seth Rollins scraping his face with the belt
And-
on accident.
And that's my whole thing. Like, that was the only interaction with the ladder, was Seth Rollins springboarding up from the outside of the apron onto the ladder, and then Finn Balor trying to get the belt.
And Samoa
Seth
Joe
Rollins grabbing the
surprisingly,
actual
Samoa
belt and
Joe,
like,
Samoa
yeah.
Joe surprisingly did
wasn't-
climb up the ladder.
It just wasn't a good situation at all. The as far as the Rumble, I like the way they did that thing, because just how you said.
Okay,
like,
even that
you hated Rumbles.
You're skipping.
No, I'll go back.
You're skipping Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Fuck Brock Lesnar and fuck Roman Reigns.
Uh-uh.
That is a paper belt. No real wrestling fan gives a fuck about that belt. That the real WWE World
outside
Championship
of the
belt belongs to
I'm talking
AJ
about
Styles.
the match. How does a referee call in favor for Brock Lesnar just because his back hit the floor?
It's a weird situation there, and that was the thing that I was telling you, was like,
When Roman Reigns
It's all
clearly
about-
had his entire body and his feet
Yeah.
on the floor before Brock Lesnar did.
but
Fuck.
in a but that was the whole thing. A cage match is the first person that escapes the cage, right? And okay, he speared him out of the cage, but my thing though, as far as like an escape from the cage,
You
it
could
should
even
be
say
2
he
feet
was.
on the
You
ground.
could even say he was still in the cage because he was laying on the cage.
We'll see on Raw. But my thing though was like it was definitely it was a technicality as far as like who landed 2 feet on the ground first.
Roman
Whoever
Reigns
landed
won.
2 feet on the ground first wins the belt.
Roman
But-
Reigns won.
Okay, the only reason why it was even a cage match, apparently, it was for the fact that Brock Lesnar is so thirsting for a fucking cage match. Meanwhile, go ahead and holler at Alistair Overeem and get kicked in the liver real quick and fucking KO'd within 1 round. It's weird, but I understand. It's wrestling versus MMA. It's MMA versus wrestling. MMA is not a sport. MMA is exactly what wrestling
do you
is.
think,
It is a
do you think
sports
Roman Reigns
entertainment
is just
situation
going to
every day.
become like null and void, and they're going to end up putting Bobby Lashley against? Lesnar?
Lashley isn't going to do anything for the fact that he is.
That would be the
actual
only thing that
Lashley.
made sense.
It
Like
would-
you have two
but
people that crossed over to
You're looking at the
MMA.
looks. You're looking at the looks. The look, like they're not gonna make matchups as far as looks. we're not in the era of Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Well,
We're
that
in,
sucks.
yeah, I know it doesn't really suck. Truthfully, but my thing is
That would make sense though. You have two
Okay. Well, listen, this is a hot take, real
people
quick.
that went over to UFC and failed.
Cool. This is a hot take. How to revive Shinsuke Nakamura's career. Instead of have him beef with AJ Styles, have him hop over to Raw. Have him beat up a couple people over there, whatever. He has grappling. He has strong style skills or whatever. Have him submit Brock Lesnar into retirement in the WWE. That would make a superstar and Shinsuke Nakamura. But they're not going to do that.
I don't think Shinsuke deserves that, to be completely honest.
Why does he not deserve that?
After watching his first 2 matches, like I was all for him, but then
it was all about
afterwards.
The intro.
Afterwards, though, yeah, he's big on his intro.
Hey, you know what? Hey,
and he only has the same 3 or 4 moves. Even after that, he's a boring fighter.
He has a lot of shit.
I don't know if they told him he can't do whatever he wants to do.
It's the WWE curse. Guys like Finn Balor, guys like Seth Rollins, guys like
all of them are gonna
my
do
daughter's
way better
favorite
than
wrestler. Who's my daughter's favorite wrestler? What's his name? I can't even remember. A part of the Shield, the one dude.
Who?
The one dude.
Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose is my daughter's favorite wrestler. That's her favorite wrestler.
Male wrestler.
The things that these guys can do, but they don't allow them to do it, is exactly why a real wrestling fan like me, truthfully, I think like you, like my girl friend over
Amanda.
We do not Amanda. Like
ALG
they pretty much what? They sit there and pretty much marginalize what they're allowed to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, you know, you can do this portion of what you can do. AJ Styles is the greatest worker on the planet right now. AJ Styles is Rob Van Dam, what Rob Van Dam was in 97 and 98. But he's not allowed to put and showcase everything that he can do as far as a wrestler, and it's irritating.
Bring out his arsenal. It's irritating. It irritates me with Shinsuke. It irritates me with Finn Balor. It irritates me.
But I will say one thing: Shinsuke is not in the same shtick as AJ, not in the same shtick as RVD, not in the same shtick as a Finn Balor. However, we have probably 20 wrestlers on the WWE roster that are capable of 5-star matches, but we're getting 3-star matches. In tonight's pay-per-view, the greatest Royal Rumble of all time was a lackluster event, and I hate it. It is what it is. I loved the fact that they gave Daniel Bryan his justice due as far as lasting that long.
I agree.
Yeah. But my thing,
I just hate it because I knew when Braun Strowman came out, and I even said it to you and Elise. I said, "Oh, here he comes." I said, "I swear, if he comes in and throws everyone out, of the ring,
what's funny,
I'm just gonna stop watching wrestling."
You know what's hilarious?
That's irritating.
Braun Strowman, his whole
it'll have to be Braun Strowman against Brock Lesnar.
Possibly.
And what irritates me though is that Roman Reigns will be like null and void.
Roman Reigns will never be null and void, but he like I've already said to you, we've had this conversation before. Roman Reigns has done something somewhere and said the wrong thing to some higher up to where they're not going to press the button on him being the guy. And my thing is, after this pay-per-view, I said that
he
Brock
could
Lesnar
seriously
is the guy.
be
I
the
think Braun
poster
Strowman
boy.
is the guy. Braun Strowman is the guy.
Roman Reigns should be the guy. He is the absolute poster boy for wrestling. He's built the right way. He's worked on. He's worked on his.
Him or Finn Balor.
Finn
Balor's just too small.
I would truthfully put Roman Reigns over Finn Balor
because he's bigger.
Not only that, but he's worked on he's worked on his mic work.
Real quick.
Back and forth with the John Cena, like.
All right. Okay, look.
You could tell he's worked super hard to get to where he is, and it irritates the crap out of me.
You know, one thing that I'll say really quick. Triple H looked really good in the ring tonight.
Yeah.
Like he had the look. He was fucking.
He did,
like
and honestly, I've
killed
never
the moves.
Been a
he
Triple
sold
H
moves.
fan.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. Like I was the one like, fuck Triple H.
Yeah,
like back in the day of the Ultimate Warrior, knocking them or destroying them within like 15 to 20
I've never
seconds
been a Triple
at a
H
Royal
fan.
Rumble, I believe, or Survivor Series 1. But wrestling has changed. Finn Balor will be that guy, but I think that truthfully, if
They're
were really
steering him
smart,
the
it
wrong
will
way.
be who? Elias Sampson.
Oh,
Elias Sampson
Elias-
is the guy.
E-
And even in the Royal Rumble match, as far as like presence in the match. Anytime,
That's what I'm saying.
Anytime
Who
there
did
was
I say?
action-
I said
no. Look.
I said
Anytime there was
Elias.
action going on
I
with
said,
Elias, that was the Royal Rumble, and Elias Sampson is the future of wrestling.
but I said Elias, Roman, and Finn are like my three favorite wrestlers out right now. Male wrestlers.
All right, well, look, I'm going to go ahead and hit another hot take real quick as far as the greatest Royal Rumble. Why were there no female competitions tonight?
I told you that because they're
Well,
in
the fact
Saudi
of-
Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
The women are just now allowed to drive.
But
They have no rights whatsoever.
Was that-
like? What do you?
was that Saudis' decision, or was
I'm sure
that
it was
the
an agreement. I'm sure it was
WWE?
an agreement between the
You
both
think-
of them
You
because
think?
if you're showing women doing what they're doing
Then
and knowing
I
that
can do that too.
exactly, so that's
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
that's gonna cause
Yeah.
like a revolt for
So-
all the women.
So truthfully, and even in that, and truthfully, you pointed this out while we were watching the entire pay-per-view. Where, like, are there any females there? I'm like, oh no, it's one there. You're like, they're kids, and that was another whole thing was the fact that why were there no adult females in the crowd?
'Cause they're not
and,
allowed.
And the camera work was so shitty to where you couldn't really pinpoint it and definitely make an assessment that there weren't any females there. But that's exactly what it was. So
Yeah,
what
you
do
can't.
you
You
like?
can't.
What
you
do you
can't
take from
You
this
can't
event?
glorify women. You can't glorify women doing the same thing that men do in a country to where women are so suppressed.
Yep.
They have no rights. They have no anything. They are
Oh,
just
God. I
now
just smashed
legally
my mic
allowed to
again.
drive.
Yep. Just
So you
now-
cannot have
fine.
women coming at you can't have your Charlotte
You
Flairs.
shouldn't be
can't
driving
have
either, though, truthfully.
you
shouldn't
can-
drive. You drive like an asshole. You
Shut
drive like
up.
a fucking asshole.
How many accidents have I been in?
More than me.
No,
And I'll
sir.
Say that 100% gleeful.
I've been in
I'm
one
Drake.
accident and it
I'm
wasn't my
Drake.
fault.
Listen to me. It's crazy,
Oh,
but it
you
is what it is.
jerk face.
She just called me a jerk face, but it is what it was gonna be. I'm Beer Drink Shawty. The greatest Royal Rumble of all time was
ALG
not the greatest Royal
1254.
Rumble of all time. But one last thing that I would ask you
ALG
about.
1254. Twitter,
ALG
Instagram.
1254 on Instagram or whatever. Like, I guess follow her
And
on
Twitter.
Instagram. ALG 1254 on Instagram. But I want to know, who do you think should have won the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? Who was deserving of the greatest Royal Rumble of all time? I'm going to ask you right now.
Daniel
Who
Bryan.
should have won the greatest Royal Rumble?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. I think that Elias Sampson, if
Oh.
not a very close Daniel Bryan, for the fact that he
Oh, see, that would-
shattered
yeah,
the
that would
record,
be my
and
top
truthfully,
two.
he's on a roll and coming back and lasting over an hour. That would have been the greatest Royal Rumble win of all time. I'm Beer Drink Shawty. I'm about to smoke a cigarette.
Daniel Bryan.
Who
and
are
Elias.
you? Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and if you want more wrestling content, let me know in the comment section. I'm Beer Drink Shawty. Who are you?
And I'm Amanda.
Shut up!